Hello fellow pilots, I'm Major Payne and this is next episode How to Play. Today we'll discuss the new plane in the game, American P-38L-P Lightning, Tier 6 Heavy Fighter. Now available in a set of missions, still for 18 more days if you like. And the history of P-38 Lightning is amazing. First flight took place in 27 of January 1939 and they've been in service during the war, most of the war, and they retired in 1949 in United States Air Force, but some other countries keep them until 1965 even. Now, the P-38L was the most numerous variant of the Lightning, nearly 4,000 been built. It's a legendary aircraft that fought for most of the war and has produced many aces. P-38 made all kinds of missions in the role of fighter, fighter bomber, aerial reconnaissance. Like 80% of missions of aerial reconnaissance in Europe been conducted by P-38. But probably most significant operation was conducted on Pacific Theater, and it was interception of Admiral Yamamoto on 18 of April 1943. 16 of P-38 attacked 2 fast bomber G4M and 6 escorting Zeros. They then been successful and they shut down those bombers, and one of them have the admiral and he get killed during the crash landing, and yeah, so that was tremendous success, and that's probably most famous action of P-38. Our version of the plane is P-38L-P. American look at German 15mm cannon MG151, widely used during the war. We have it in the game as well on Messerschmitt. For sure that tier 5 and tier 6 Messerschmitt have it, and they try something similar. So after the war they take P-38L and experimentally fit it with the armament of 3 60-inch, which is 15.2mm machine guns, and those 15.2mm caliber cartridges had been developed early in the war for infantry anti-tank rifle, a type of weapon which been developed by number of nations in 1930s when tanks were lighter, but in 1942 the idea of taking on tank with a large caliber rifle was no longer considered to be practical. So this is the T-17 cannon, and that's been fitted into P-38L-P, and they start some testing. However, they run into some problems with the weapon and they not been fully resolved, so the T-17 cannon never saw actually operational service, and in the end P-38L-P did not go beyond any successful trial, so that was the end of the project. But thanks to our favorite game we have this plane and we can try it in combat. So it took me 16 battles to specialize this plane, so it's pretty easy to have this specialized configuration. It's not worth to use your tokens for it because it's very easy. I just literally done it in 16 battles, very easy. I remove all this equipment for now and the pilots, so I can tell you what we're dealing with. So gun armament here, we have this 20mm cannon and those 15.2mm cannons. So it says only 20 points on the scale, but this is not really accurate because those cannons have 700 meters of range and they're very accurate, and they all have the same range, so this is very good. Like most of the planes doesn't have the armament with this range on this tier 6, so we have clear advantage in head-on attack, even if it's look like this may not be plane designed to go head-on with any other fighter, heavy fighter, but that's misleading because the range of those and accuracy is matter as well. So you put those rounds very early in the early stage of the engagement, and most of them are hitting the target, so this is very important. I noticed that in a game, like first when I look at it, oh my god, I'm thinking Jesus 20, this is not good, that's not good. But in a game, like, it's feel that this is very powerful. It's easy to take out the bombers. They literally can't hide on high altitude. We have enough firepower, enough speed and altitude performance to get the bomber anywhere. Now, let's get into bombs and rockets. This is very important in this plane because we have huge armament here. We have 2 bombs and we have 14 rockets, so it's amazing firepower. But the reload of these bombs are 180 seconds and rockets 240, and we can do nothing about this because there is no equipment to speed up the reload. So that's what we will have. We're not going to improve that, but we have to use that very carefully because the reload is so long. So we cannot waste it for some small targets. We have to use that against the high value targets like some factories or rocket base, stuff like this. Or like in some cases we may need the rockets for head-on attack with some good players. Now survivability could be much better. 350 points, like that's not much. Resistant to fire is very good, 65. So that's why I'm not carrying here fire extinguisher. I'm using first aid instead, because this plane doesn't catch fire too often. Now speed is actually very good for the plane. It's the best, one of the best parameters here. So 625 km per hour in a straight line with boost. So this is very good result. And maneuverability as well is not bad. There's few planes with better maneuverability, but there's good few as well which have worse turning time, so we can outmaneuver them. Now altitude performance in this plane are amazing. It's only one plane in the game on tier 6 American heavy fighter, the same P-38, just J model, which have the same altitude performance. So with any other heavy fighter we can have advantage over it. The same with climb rate. It's one of the best in its class, and we can heavily rely on it in many engagements. Now let's compare this plane with any other heavy fighter on tier 6, and let's talk about tactics, how to deal with those planes. Let's start with XP-54 Goose. So this plane happened to me be very often in a battle. I see them a lot. Most of them are specialized. A lot of people have them. They are actually not available at the moment in a premium store or in a game. They've been the same as P-38L-P as a reward for a set of missions, but still a lot of people have them and a lot of people keep flying them because they are very good. We can actually say that they are a little bit overpowered. So what we have here, the difference is that on paper XP-54 have much more firepower, doesn't have any bombs and rockets. We have a lot, like, so we both have 350 HP. Speed, we have slightly better speed. Dive speed is the same. Maneuverability, there's a big difference that XP-54 is much more maneuverable. So we definitely cannot go into the turn fight with XP-54. That's a very bad idea, no. And altitude performance, we just have slightly better altitude performance, and climb rate is actually a little bit better. So what's the best way to fight this plane? Let's start from the head-on attack. So on paper it seems to like we shouldn't go any head-on because XP is too powerful, so we shouldn't go. But if you closely look on the armament of XP-54, you will see that those heavy cannons, 37mm cannons and 2 heavy machine guns, they are very short range. So as you can see here, the range of it basically is 560 meters, and the heavy machine guns almost the same, 572. So this is the difference. Like we have 700 meters range on our 3 15mm cannons and 1 20mm cannons. They all have the same range, 700 meters. So this is much more than XP-54. Basically, we start putting our shells much quicker, much faster, and in the beginning of engagement. And don't forget that those planes only have 350 HP, so that can go down very quickly. Another secret weapon of P-38L-P is accuracy. So those shells, those cannons are mounted in a nose section close together, and they are very accurate. Another thing you can consider as a weapon is those rockets. You have P-38L-P have 14 rockets. So if you see that there is a XP-54 specialized in hand of the good pilot, so you can use those rockets with deadly results. Let me show you just example how I do it. 14 rockets, so it's much more easier to put one of these into the target. You just need to spread them a little bit, as you can see here, so most likely you will actually hit the target, but not always. Remember, this is not 100%. So in terms of cannons, we can go head on. We just need to use our range and accuracy. To do that, we will have to go more vertically, so we can't just go in a flat head on with high speed with XP54. And this example here is not very accurate because this particular XP54 is low on HP, so it's not accurate. But you see, I didn't even lose too much in this one. But let me show you a better example. So this is interesting battle where we have two specialized XP54 and we are going to have a good dogfight with them. Now, first engagement here, you can see they are both together. They're not in a flight, but they happen to be together. So a little bit fire on it, and then I escape. As you can see, in angle, speed, I'm getting altitude, and now I'm turning back on them. But I have very good altitude, 2700 meters over. Now they see me, and that's the point now to get into head on, you see. And you see how quickly HP is going down, and we get killed, but we get killed as well, but not by the enemy which we fire at. We get killed by second XP54, which been around most unfortunately, but that's more or less the way to deal with the XP54, not in a flat head-on, just more vertically. Now there is next engagement coming, and basically most important obviously is situational awareness, so attack from like surprise attack like this one here. The guy didn't pay attention, but I know that I have second XP54 behind my back, so I'm keep using my boost, speed up and climbing and escaping, and in the same time firing at enemy. But I know that there is XP54 behind me, so what we do in here is a classic head-on attack, but vertically, and just need to gain a little bit more distance. And we have rockets, so we can use rockets or cannons. If its distance is too close, we can use rockets. But if I would have enough distance, I could use my cannons only. And we are making a turn now, but that doesn't seem to look like it's gonna work. He's getting too close now. Very close now, too close for cannon, so we use the rockets, but unfortunately we get killed as well. We catch up fire, and that's what's happened. Yeah, I may consider change my first aid for fire extinguisher. Now next engagement, it's gonna be more as I would like to have, you see, with cannons only, no rockets, just cannons. And here we go, we get another fire, but yeah, we're gonna survive that, and XP54 not. So that's successful engagement head-on with cannons only. But look at the altitude I have here, and that's why that actually been successful, because the enemy had to go so high, so up, like climbing up, and lose speed. So this engagement was extended in time, so I had enough time to do enough damage in my using my range and accuracy of my cannons now. And again here in a square line now, we do the same trick head on but vertically, you see. And he decided to, I don't know what he was trying to do here, but first it was look like he's going head on, but then he gave up, and maybe he wants to go into turn fight with me, I don't know, but we're not going into turn fight, and that's what happened. Bye bye. So as you see, XP54 is not really a threat for P-39L-P if we fly it correctly. However, Messerschmitt Bf109F is actually a threat if you get caught in the wrong position. So far I was thinking that the best plane on tier 6 is XP54, just after the ME 410, but since P-38L-P came into the game, then I'm thinking this is better, because have more armament and more capability of attacking ground targets. As you can see here, how many times the enemy been destroyed. So in this particular game, I had to go after those players and basically stop them in their progress. So because they would win this game easily if I wouldn't go after them. If I would go after bots, bombers, or something like that, that game would be lost and I would have no chance to win. So that's the way we deal with XP54. We can go to next one, which is Grumman XP50. That's going to be very easy and short discussion. Like we have superior firepower and more HP. So XP55 is almost like a light fighter for us. So definitely head-on attacks, and we can take him out easily. He have very good altitude performance and even better climb rate. Speed is as well superior, so typical like it's a heavy fighter, but it's more like a light fighter, very maneuverable, slightly better maneuverable than P-38L-P, but as I said, always try to engage head-on, and if it's happened to you that you're not gonna take it out head-on or by some surprise attack, then you may find yourself in trouble because this plane is faster and have better maneuverability in turns. So if you're not gonna take it out, then you may get into trouble and he can get killed on you. So keep that in mind. You're not gonna escape from this plane, even on your higher altitude, because he have better climb rate. So that's almost impossible to get better altitude. So just simply go head on, and that's it with this plane. And they're not very often in a game, by the way. So that's it here. Next we have P-38J Lightning. It's Tech 3 Tier 6 heavy fighter, almost the same thing, different version of P-38. And so here is a tricky plane because have the same HP, almost the same speed, everything almost the same. He have slightly better maneuverability, unfortunately for us. So we shouldn't go into a turn fight. Just slightly better climb rate and the same altitude performance. So what we can do here is just simply as well go head on, because it says 25 points on the scale, we have 20, so technically we shouldn't, but if you closely look into this plane, it's the same situation with XP54, so range of this armament is limited, like 540 meters for the 37mm cannon, and heavy machine guns are a little bit better here, is 593 meters, so it's not bad, but still far away from 700. Go head on. He have a rocket, so it's a bit hazard, because if the player, but most of the players not using those rockets, but if they do, then you know you need a little bit luck in this case. So basically it's pretty tough opponent for us, because we don't have like a clear advantage over it. So yeah, just be careful with lightning. You may happen that they will be in a game, but I didn't see actually so far P-38J as a specialized plane. I think the people only go through this and grind their line, and that's it. So if this not specialized, then definitely we have advantage. Yeah, but I would say head on. That's the best way, because we can't outturn, we can't escape, we can't do much about this plane. So let's go for the next one, and this is Messerschmitt. Messerschmitt ME 410. It's just a king of head-on attacks, basically. There is no more powerful heavy fighter on tier 6. It's a very good plane, a lot of HP, tremendous firepower that I don't even go into it. Like, this is just amazing. And so what we can do here is simply we can try to avoid head-on attack and go for turn fight, because the Messerschmitt have the worst maneuverability, the worst average turn time. So 16 seconds, we have 13.8, so it's much better. So we can use that to defeat this opponent. And you may actually see them a lot, because a lot of good players keep those planes in the hangars and they use that on tier 6. If they have to go on tier 6, then they will take the Messerschmitt. So keep in mind, never go head on with this plane, because it's deadly. Even if you think that this plane have like half of HP, I wouldn't go even so, it doesn't matter. Like he has so much firepower that like literally he's gonna wipe you out from sky. So no head on, just go into turn fight straight away. Next two heavy fighters are the Havilland Mosquito. We have two of these heavy fighters. One is in a British tech tree on tier 6, and another one is in Chinese tech tree as a premium plane on tier 6. They're very similar, and they both have gun armament 26 points, and in this case I wouldn't go head on because those planes have very similar armament on the front, just a little bit more damage, a little bit better. So nothing tricky about it. That's 20mm cannons on it. They simply have better firepower on a head-on attack, and they have rockets as well. So we shouldn't go head-on with those planes, with any of these Mosquitoes. Now they have even more HP. No for head-on. But what we can do here is just outmaneuver them, because if we avoid the head-on attack any of these, which is not that difficult, I suppose, like we have enough HP, and in the turn fight we should be able to get a kill quite easily. If we need, we can also control the engagement and disengage anytime if we want, just by getting high altitude, because those planes have this optimum altitude only 1600 meters, so that should be quite easy for us. They cannot go after us on higher altitude. So yeah, that's the way to deal with the Mosquitoes. Now the last plane which left, Key 102, yeah. So in this case, gun armament 31 points, and if you take a look on these, you may think, okay, this heavy cannon have limited range as well, 520 meters, okay, but there's a additional two 20mm cannons with the range of 600 meters. The biggest problem here is damage, so 300 damage per second, and it's 90 shots per minute, so this is amazing firepower in this 57 cannon, plus those 220s, and you can basically sign up for a kamikaze unit. So if you want to go head on with Key 102, you can't do it in a level flight with high speed. You need to use your altitude performance and go higher, and if Key 102 wants to engage you with head-on attack, then he would have to climb, lose his speed, and then give you more time to use your best advantage, which is range of your cannons and accuracy, so you can make more damage before he get into his effective range of his cannons. So that's the way how to deal with this plane. Of course, you can use the rockets in head-on attacks, but this is very tricky. This plane is very maneuverable, and he can avoid, if there is a good pilot in it, he can avoid those rockets if you fire them from a longer distance, and if you fire them from the point blank distance, you still have to risk that he's gonna knock you out with his cannon. So keep your situational awareness, use bots to help you with attack, because maneuverability is not on your side. Key 102 is much more maneuverable, and basically the same as XP54, so you're gonna lose quickly the turn fight, and that's the thing, don't get caught on a close distance, because that's certainly gonna kill you. Now let me show you my equipment which I put into my plane and the pilot skills. Let's talk about this now. In a cockpit we have one slot here, and not much choice, like we have this sighting or cockpit armor, so obviously I go for sighting because we don't need this armor, because that's gonna reduce maneuverability, we don't want that. So that's my choice, is for this sighting, and not that doesn't mean that plane need accuracy, because it's very accurate, but we have it just because we don't want to reduce maneuverability. Now nothing for airframe, and then we have two slots for engine, and here I just put lightweight power unit to increase the maneuverability, and I did go for engine boost mixture, which is it's a matter of choice, but I go for it instead of the upgrade engine, because upgrade engine actually increase the chance for fire, and I don't want that. And the plane have a lot of boost, so by you losing 10% of the boost, I'm not gonna be that harm like I would be in case of the fire. Now, for weapon, we have gas operation action. I choose that because I think this is a little bit better, but than other. But you can go as well for a long gun barrel. That's very good as well. You can increase the range of your cannon, so that's mean that in this head-on attacks you're gonna engage enemies even earlier. So that's very good. You know, you have more time to get those critical damage and stuff, but in the end that may work more or less the same. So I will have the better, I start from 700 meters, but I will have a better rate of fire. And if you like increase this range to 800 meters, let's say, then you're gonna start making damage on 800 meters, but not with the same rate as I do at 700. So in the end, you may end up with the same result. So, but that's my choice here. So gas operation action. And as you see, I put all those equipment on 400 technological level. I'm not calibrating this, but I may do that in the future. It's depend of my resources, how many resources I will have. And in the pilot skills, there's few things I want to say. So marksman is not that much important in this plane. Engine gur, of course, could be useful because we rely heavily on speed, and would be very useful to have acrobatic expert, increase the maneuverability, and aerodynamic expert as well. Now this one is, don't want to say must have, because of course we all gonna train pilots from different planes, but if you have options to put the pilot with this skill, it's very useful because we can get everything out of these bombs and rockets. So by increasing this 10%, so that's damage by 10% is very good to have. Okay, so I think that's it here. And in consumables, as you see, I have this pneumatic control assistant that could be useful in some dogfights when you need to turn quicker after someone. And this actually is for engine, it's like must have. You need to have the engine cooling system. So yeah, that's very useful. And of course, universal ammunition as usually. There is no need for any gold here. Okay, let's sum up everything about this machine. It's an amazing toy that can do virtually anything in a battle. We can take over enemy mining factory on our own. In fact, we can take any sector ourselves without any help from our team. This is a huge advantage. And what else? We are very good in dogfight. We can attack most of planes with confidence. We can go for like bombers and ground attackers. They just easy prey for us. It's not difficult for good players to be to have good results. And here's a little bit salt in it, because in my opinion the plane require a very good experienced pilot. It's not a Spitfire where the new player can do results and Ace will do a bit better, but in this case the difference will be large, and pilot skills make great difference in winning percentage on this plane. So yeah, nevertheless the plane is amazing and well worth getting. So if you have a chance to finish the missions and get this plane, then get to work and you're not gonna regret that. Okay guys, I really don't want to cross 30 minutes with this movie, so yeah, that would be it for the video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If you like it, please leave a like, and as always, see you guys in the next one. Take care.